Hey everyone, before we get into the video, remember, if you're looking to play any of these agents at the top level, over at SkillCapped.com, we have a bunch of agent-specific courses that are made by actual Radiant one-tricks. These are top 500 players that literally have thousands of hours on one agent alone, sharing everything they've learned with you. This is by far the fastest way to build agent mastery in Valorant. So if you're really looking to improve fast, be sure to check out SkillCapped.com. Now, let's get into the video.
Man, why is getting better at Valorant so hard? I've watched all these guides and tips, yet my rank isn't improving. We've heard this a lot, and the common reason that we see players saying this is because there's just too much information being presented to them and not enough information actually being absorbed into memory. Think about that last lecture you had. Did you really retain everything that the professor said in those few minutes? Let's be real, probably not. And you've probably slept through a few of those lectures as well, or maybe that's just me. You can't effectively practice everything at once. What's more beneficial is taking one key concept at a time and honing onto that before continuing to another concept. This is the purpose of today's video. Here's one good habit you should have for every agent in Valorant. Take your main agents and focus on this one sole habit. By just doing this, you'll be able to master that habit and start taking the right steps towards Immortal. Let's start off with good old Jett. If there's one thing you need to do when playing Jett, it's to smoke and dash onto sites. Jett's strong point is charging in headfirst onto the enemy. This pulls all the attention of the enemies onto her so that the rest of the team has space to follow up. To prevent yourself from getting picked off the bat, you want to use the smoke to give yourself some cover. From there, you want to dash into the smoke while going sideways so you can scout out players mid-dash to call to your team. Now your team has less angles to check while pushing the initial parts of the site, and you can continue scouting the back of the site to clear things out. This is exactly what Leaf does here to get that initial intel and distort the enemy defense. Once his team arrives, the enemies have so many angles to watch for that Leaf just snags an easy 2 kills from the back and a third off the enemy Jett that tries to make a surprise play through the smoke. These smoke dash plays on attack are so good at turning the enemy's attention and getting information, all while keeping yourself relatively safe. You should do this pretty often when your team is hitting the site. Make sure to switch the position of your dash from time to time though, so the enemy can't predict where you're going to be. Following that up, we have Raze, who has some slippery movement mechanics herself. If you want to be a good Raze main, you have to learn to use her satchels. You've probably seen these fancy schmancy double satchel ultimate plays before. These plays really showcase how much movement Raze has to clear out sites and quite literally outmaneuver enemies. Sorry Killjoy. Now let's get this straight, we don't expect everyone to be able to do these sorts of combos. It takes a ton of practice, but you should be able to successfully utilize one satchel to give yourself a movement buff to mess with the enemy. You could pop your ultimate and then satchel out to close the gap to get the frag, or you could throw the satchel and have it pop out to the side to perform a wide peek. Or maybe you're about to get hit by utility, using the satchel quickly to evade it would be wise here. Point being, get into the habit of using your satchels to buff your movement and make it hard for enemies to kill you and easier for you to kill them. Many players remember to boombot and throw grenades, but too many forget the satchel. Do not be that player. Switching things up, we have Chamber. The best habit you could ever have on this agent is to watch your team's economy. Chamber's kit is all about saving money. Probably something I could do better in real life too, but hey, at least I'm starting in Valorant, right? You have Chamber's ultimate, which is a free operator, plus you have Chamber's headhunter, which is basically a sheriff. This one's not as free, but the fact that you can bring it into multiple rounds is humongous for saving money when your team has to eco. Because Chamber saves so much of his own credits due to his abilities, you're going to end up buying often for your team. This means you have to watch how much credits your team has, and if anyone needs a buy, call out that you can buy for them. Particularly when you have your ult or headhunter, you won't have to expend any extra credits during those rounds. A surprising number of people are too shy to ask for a buy when they need it. So if you're Chamber and can literally offer it to your team, most players will not turn it down. Continuing on with our Sentinels, let's get into Sage. One of the best habits you can have while playing Sage is working with your team to collect the ultimate orbs. Sage's Resurrection is arguably one of the best ultimates in the game, and because of that, it costs a whopping 8 points to use. Unless you're fragging your brains off, you're going to need some orbs to actually get your ultimate and be able to use it. There are 2 orbs on every map, the exception being Fracture, which has a whopping 4 orbs. You should work towards gathering at least one of these every round so that you can have as many ultimates as possible each half. Controls work really well with Sage as they can simply smoke off the orbs and you can get it easy peasy. Or if you have a Jett or Phoenix, their smokes and walls can be great to block off vision as well. Do not use your Sage wall to get 1 orb. That is not worth 300 of your credits, plus it's extremely valuable to have for both attack and defense. If you do this, I will literally facepalm you. With that being said, let's switch gears into a few controllers. Particularly, we have our boy Omen. If there's one thing Omen specializes at, it is one-way smokes, and you should absolutely learn them and use them. Omen can basically place a smoke wherever he pleases. When the display icon is red, the smoke will end up landing on the exact spot that you put the smoke on. It won't drop to the ground like a normal smoke would when the icon is green. With this knowledge, you can essentially place a one-way smoke anywhere on the map that's on a wall. Enemies trying to push you? No problem, one-way smoke. Defending A site and defenders are rotating? No problem, one-way smoke. One-way smokes are so powerful in this game, so much to the point that Riot had to remove some of them, such as the also popular one-way that used to be very easy to do on A short bind. Unless the concept gets removed completely, we suggest abusing the heck out of these one-way smokes. Speaking of smokes, Viper is another agent who has fantastic smokes. If there's one habit you should really develop with her, it is to drop your smokes onto the spike whenever it is planted. Her smokes apply a decay debuff in which players start to lose HP over time if they stay inside it. This is perfect to put on the spike. If enemies decide to stick to the fuse, you can throw up your smoke to quickly drop their HP, and then from there you spray through the smoke and it'll be an easy peasy kill every time. Just having your smoke up on the spike will cause enemies to try to work through the map more to clear you out. This is great for delaying time for the spike to go boom and you win. Now let's go into Brimstone, or more notably known as Brimmy with the Stimmy. Stim Beacon has recently gotten a massive buff with it, providing additional movement speed along with the original increased firing rate. The firing rate was pretty meh, but the movement speed on the other hand is pretty lit. This allows for faster, more explosive pushes to be made. As a result, you need to get used to smoking down sites and then immediately dropping a stim beacon afterwards. This allows your team to literally full on rush the site and overwhelm the enemy's defense. Quicker site take and quicker plants lead to more time taken away from the defenders to rotate and retake. With that being said, let's get into Yoru. His new and improved fakeout is nuts. It sends out a clone that if shot at will flash players that are within the cone of vision. This makes fakeout an insanely good ability to use when you're pushing sites. Use it as your first point of contact, as most players will instinctively shoot it, which triggers the flash. Now their eyes are burning and your team can rush out and destroy the defense. Players will likely start adapting at some point in the game, but if you continuously switch the sites that you hit, you'll be tricking different players. This will increase the success rate of fakeout blinding enemies. If enemies don't end up shooting it, the mind games will still be real. Plus, if anything, fakeout can be used as a shield during the push. That hesitation to shoot will hurt the enemies and make for easy kills regardless of how the enemy tries to play around it. Next, we have Reyna. What you need to do to get good with Reyna is getting into the habit of instantly dismissing after getting into a duel and winning it. The most common mistake we see low ranked players making is getting greedy for heals. We get it, your HP is low and you want to get it back up so you can face that next player, right? Well, it takes time to heal, plus the animations reveal your location. If you know there are players close by, you're not going to have time to heal before you get clobbered and traded. In hectic battles against multiple enemies, your best bet is to take the L on your HP and dismiss away to safety. This allows you to get the pick and man advantage while keeping yourself alive. Otherwise, you can heal like usual, but getting the instant dismiss into your muscle memory will be important, so that you can do it instantly. Let's get into Sentinels next, and we're going to put Killjoy and Cypher into the same category for today's video. One of the most annoying things that can happen is your Killjoy or Cypher has their utility to watch the flank, but they don't place them. Then you end up getting flanked when you shouldn't have. Killjoy's turret is free too, so there's no excuse to not place this to watch your team's back every round. This will save your team tons of unnecessary stress when you perform this simple task. Get the flank covered with your abilities and your team will be chillin' and more focused on killing. Jumping back into our duelists, we have Neon and Phoenix in our remaining pool. Both these agents should really focus on walling off common choke points. This makes it much easier for you and your team to push through that point. It forces the enemies back and also puts that extra fear onto them in the sense that both these agents could swing out past the wall and go for a big duel. Phoenix particularly is scary when the wall is up, as he can easily flash through it. If you got high sense like Asuna, it will be an easy flick shot and kill. We don't recommend pushing through the walls often though. It's a risky maneuver as you don't know what's beyond it. There could be multiple players staring you down in the face and well, you would be toast. Wall off the point and then continue moving forward. Alright, you Initiator mains, don't worry, we didn't forget about you. This next piece is for you Sky and Silver players out there. Initiators are all about information gathering. However, info is only useful if you use it to make some moves. Sure, it's great if I can Silver drone and clear out a choke point, but if no one's there to take control of that point, then it's wasted information. A few seconds later and the situation could be different, where now there is a player actually in that area. Make sure that you communicate and call for a teammate to back up your abilities. For example, when you're droning a choke point, you should have a teammate close by so that if someone gets tagged, they can instantly peek out and kill them. Same idea with Sky's Trailblazer. The idea is the same with Breach. You can certainly make plays on your own, but you'll be way more effective if you let your teammates take advantage of Breach's abilities. There's less delay and teammates are better able to position themselves to play off the flash or stun. Teamwork makes the dream work. Tell your team when you're going to throw a flash or stun, and then they can zoom over and pop off onto the enemy. The last initiator is Kayo. His flashes are a little more self-sufficient in that he can peek more effectively by using his pop flashes. Otherwise, communication is just like what you need with the other initiators. Let's talk about Kayo's ultimate. It prevents nearby enemy players from using abilities, so what should we do to take advantage of that? You guessed it, we should use our own abilities to capitalize on the situation. Don't just hit ult and think that will be enough to scare enemies off. There still needs to be an aim duel, and that will be way easier if you chuck a flash or molotov to force the enemy into an uncomfortable situation. Otherwise, it's just a regular 1 vs 1, and the ultimate didn't really give you all that much assistance. Finally, we have Astra. We talked about how communication is key with initiators, but it's insanely important if you're trying to play Astra. Make sure your teammates know that they should call for abilities when they need it. Astra can place her abilities anywhere on the map. Great, but now we need to position and activate these abilities at the right time. This is where teammates come in. You want to make it clear from the get-go where you're going to place your stars. From there, all your team has to do is call for you to use it when they need it. Oh, I'm B, but you need a smoke A? If you call that out, perfect, I got you. If you don't call it though, I'm just going to be chilling in B, minding my own business. That's all we have for today's video. If you focus on these specific habits for your respective main agents, you'll be on the fast track to improving your skills and climbing up the rankings. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below to help support us. Also, as mentioned before, if you're looking for the fastest way to get better at Valorant, we highly recommend checking out our new Academy course on the website. It has over 8 hours of video content that is designed to bring you up to speed on everything you need to know to hit Immortal in Valorant. Along with that, we have tons of awesome content such as agent courses made by actual Radiant 1 tricks, daily videos breaking down how to play every single map in the game, and so much more. We place a high priority here at SkillCapped on being the best place to improve at Valorant, but we don't expect you to just trust us on that, and that's why we offer a rank improvement guarantee. If you don't find the value you're looking for, it's literally no risk. So what are you waiting for? Click that link below and get started on your journey. That's going to do it for us today though. As always, we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.